Good morning, teachers and fellow students. I believe that human trafficking is at epidemic proportions. To change this, world governments need to intervene in prostitution laws, and our culture needs reform. As I now speak these words, more people are living in slavery now than in the history of our human civilization. With 46 million, that's more than double the Australian population, being enslaved. 50% of those trafficked victims are minors, along with men and women. A whopping 80% of these people are illegally trafficked as sex slaves, alongside those in forced labour and child soldiers. Abolitionist group A21 concluded that the average age for a trafficked victim is 12. As human trafficking is the fastest growing global crime, is this outrage enough to convince you that we need change? Our ever-growing sexualised culture allows this global industry to earn $200 billion. Economically, demand is fueled by a mindset of many men who demand immediate gratification. Supply from women who've been sold off by their families in Asia, alongside the 10% of female slaves who have been trapped by a supposed boyfriend or lover boy in Europe, meets this demand for these men all across the globe. In these places, sex tourists wallow in their greed and lust. 56% of slavery occurs in the Asia-Pacific region. This is where sex tourists mostly go. And Australia is one of the top 21 destinations. It's right on our doorstep. When I was in Thailand, I saw a woman held, restricted by a man who owned her as his commodity for that night. But at what cost, I thought? Can we hold a price to owning someone's body for an hour or for a lifetime for those who have no escape? Sexual slavery can be prevented in our society by changing the current conditions for sex workers. No, not all are enslaved and forced into prostitution and escorting. Sex work is actually the most ancient form of gaining money or rewards. For those who choose this work, many stand in the vulnerable darkness of a street, not knowing that they live a risky life, not knowing the awaiting demands of the next client in the approaching car. It's important to understand that criminalising their work only exacerbates the potential harms, because where it is illegal, workers are forced to do it in more hidden and unsafe places. The client also doesn't know if they'll pass the money on to a pimp, as shown to be prevalent at Sydney's Darlinghurst Wall during the 1980s, where many underage boys were coerced to forcefully sell their bodies for sex, only to pass the money on to their abusive male pimp. This awfully cruel cycle just thrives. Even nowadays, criminalisation forces prostitutes and escorts to work unsafely in hiding, so they aren't caught by authorities who are meant to exist to protect them, and in turn, this increases the chances of them being captured and enslaved by traffickers, so they can't win either way. This is why full decriminalisation is needed, to empower and provide a safe system where sex workers can be heard and protected in their work from dangerous clients and potential traffickers. In Australia, partial legalisation has already been implemented, which is a positive by world standards. Here in Victoria, the sex industry's annual growth rate is at 4.6%, which is why we still need these people protected. Remembering that for some, it is a choice, the motivation is money. But we shouldn't be the moral police either. These choices are profoundly valuable because the way to actually help these people is to provide better life choices for them to live, alternatives for them. Not only do laws need changing, but also our attitude. We need to address a mindset instilled by every client's abusive belief that the worker is worth no more than a piece of meat. This change is absolutely necessary for the sake of those sex workers who choose their work, as well as the forced slaves who don't. Love cannot be paid for or sold, neither should a human body be. Unfortunately, only 1 to 2% of human trafficking victims will ever be rescued. And over 70% of those survivors, at their choice, will return to prostitution and re-trafficking situations if they do not get the right care, as said to me personally by abolitionist Leanne Rhodes. These people want help, but stigma and the developing forced commodity mindset is often too strong of a hold on them during their forced work. They form a false identity of inferiority, that they don't deserve the choice to live freely and with dignity. This is the mindset that needs changing. We need to view women and all people in a way that makes them valued not at a price, but at the pricelessness every single one deserves. The total end to the capitalized exploitation of valuable, innocent lives starts by everyone understanding that this human labor, for the purposes of sex or otherwise, is worth more than just a commodity that they're used for in this warped underground economy. Just imagine that vulnerable, isolated individual who just prostituted themselves, finally becoming free, able to realize their dreams, fulfilling the potential that they were created to be. We need to break the mindset towards modern sex work by providing ways out for all, whether slaves or professionals, by raising awareness, changing our culture, and offering better life alternatives. Let's be people who come with real love and freedom for those trapped in the atrocities of slavery.